We are joined here today with Callie, Levi and Laura to discuss the nature of leisure in a liquid modernity society. We're covering the topics of modernity, post-modernity and liquid modernity. First we join Callie with her view of modernity and what it was.
Thanks, Gillian. During the Industrial Revolution, leisure had started to become more controlled and more organised. This saw the decrease in folk sports such as mob football, badger baiting and also religious holidays. Due to the decrease in these leisures, more leisures were produced. These were more organised leisures. These leisures included football and drinking wines and spirits, and even lagers. This was made popular due to the importation. For example, Carlsberg was imported to England. Also, during the Industrial Revolution, railways were used more for transport. This started with the upper classes, but then spread towards the working classes. This was a result of the increased pressure for the working classes' rights. It was at this point that leisure became more distinguished. Back to you, Gillian.
So Callie, what was leisure like before the Industrial Revolution, and can you give any other examples?
Well, like I said, before the Industrial Revolution, things were a lot unorganised. All the sports were violent, animals were involved, like I say, badger baiting, bear baiting. There's a lot of blood involved. And just rules became more popular during the Industrial Revolution, which would stop the violence within sports and other leisure activities. So yeah.
Can you name any of the sports?
Well, mob football, like I say.
What was that?
Literally no rules at all during football. Anyone can join, and any way you can get the ball, you can, basically.
All right.
So yes.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Levi now joins us in the studio with his opinion on post-modernity. Hello Levi, could you talk to us about post-modernity in leisure, please?
Of course I could. Well, first, to discuss post-modernity, we've got to establish what the grounds of it are.
Yeah.
I mean, as Zygmunt Bauman would say, post-modernity is just modernity coming to terms with its own impossibility and sort of creating its own self-monitoring modernity because it could no longer sufficiently operate.
Yeah.
And, well, as Jameson once said, that dawned a more invasive and sufficient form of capitalism, which is obviously created the consumerist society of which we now live in, which has broke into leisure with massive forms of such as gardening and football, with new rules and new regulations coming in. You need to buy the latest boots, technology, even the latest trowel and spade for gardening. All of these things, you want to be the best, so you have to have the best, which obviously affects society in a massive way due to consumerism. Then of course it outbroke deviant forms of leisure. No one wants to conform to that mould of consumerism and spending money, so forms of hooliganism then broke out, which created a really fragmented life, and people started to live a dual roles. One day you could be a teacher, the next you could be a thug, and you know, people really came to terms with that. But the people that did conform ended up leisure such as shopping, which is now classed as a form of leisure in which it is basically fulfilling as consumerism as you could be. But then another form of leisure which broke out during post-modernity was holidays came more into force, because people began to have so much leisure that life itself became a bit boring, I suppose. So they could use holidays as a form of escape, getting away from their normative life and really creating a better attitude for themselves.
Yeah. Thank you, Levi. So Levi, when did post-modernity come about, do you think?
Well, as Callie was saying, modernity really came about during the industrialisation period, but I personally would argue that post-modernity came about just after the Second World War, in which people had more time to fulfil leisure needs, go shopping, the ration state was out of the window and people started to enjoy life again, and obviously no one can be fully fulfilled, so as they enjoyed it more, they wanted more enjoyment, and people pushed for it more.
Thank you, Levi, and now we'll join Laura with her opinion on liquid modernity.
Alright, so liquid modernity, it describes the ever-changing nature of society. It's always shifting, always changing. One point never stands still long enough for it to solidify, which quite a few sociologists have argued is what's happening with different social forms and institutions. There's never any solidarity brought up by them because nothing ever stays still long enough for it to come about. As Levi spoke about consumerism earlier, it allows people to swap and change what they're doing a lot more, leading to individualisation. Consumerism has become a massive part of our society. Capitalist economy and the sort of nature of the economies in the West allows this, because of society's more liquid nature. People can drift in between identities, people can buy into different goods and different things to make them appeal to different people and leisure activities. You can buy clothes and you can start talking languages, you can go on holiday to different places to fit in with the different people. People who see themselves as having like a skiing identity will go out to the Alps on the holidays, they'll buy all the different gear and all the different they'll buy into the sort of leisure and the media and all that sort of stuff. If someone's not so interested in skiing, they'll avoid it. Liquid modernity allows people to have different masks to put on in different situations. People will act differently at work than they do in the pub or sort of anywhere else. Bauman argues that people have become very narcissistic in the way that they swap and change their identities. It's all about vanity and what they think is best for them. Some of the unfortunate repercussions of liquid modernity is that every decision we make and the thousands we make every day we can't go back on, but we have such an infinite range of choice we're always wondering whether we made the right choice.
So what makes you think liquid modernity is better than post-modernity?
Post-modernity has become quite a zombie category. There's so many fragments to society that it's not useful to anyone anymore.
Well, I disagree.
Well,
Why do you disagree, Levi?
Fuck that up on you, Jill!
that's on film. Apologise for your language.
I apologise to the viewers out there for the language. I apologise for the fact that the interview went very professionally until that last moment, and I'd appreciate the camera to be cut off at this point.
Just finishing off quickly. There's so many different parts that make up the identity, in your view, of post-modernity, so many different fragments that we can't classify anyone as. No one is now seen as being female, no one is now seen as being middle class. There's so many different parts of society that if we were to break it all down as you said it would be, then we wouldn't actually have a target audience. It would be as per each individual, because no one has the same circumstances.
Well, thank you guys for your opinions. We'll do a text poll on the audience to see what their opinion is. Thank you.